Hi, everyone. My name is Todd Menard. Thanks for joining me today. Today, we're going over the White Mountain and surrounding areas real estate market statistics for the week ending February 10th. Let's get right into our numbers. 132 days closed on market this past week, a 6.2 month supply. Absorption rate was at 16.08. Average list price this past week, 482,981. Average sale price this past week, 462,856. Looking at our list price to sell price retention at 95.83. Looking at active inventory, 571 units available. That's up 3.4%. Pending is at 28 and closed units month to date at 8. Looking at new listings, 49 new listings were taken this past week, bringing days on market to active to 132.4. Closed is at 33.8. That's days on market. Looking at the lower left-hand side is active inventory for both active and closed. What are the price ranges and how many units in each of those price ranges? And in this moment, I'd like you to take a look at the close on the lower half because this is giving a little bit of an indicator of what you really can gain from this because there's only been one property in each of these at this particular moment. So what this one thing, 500 to 750 of this one property, whatever it may be, regardless of condition or location and things of that nature, which obviously make a difference, but just looking at statistical data only, that property was on the market for 236 days, so quite a long time. It is the unit count is down, meaning we're down 75% versus last month we were higher. In this particular last month we were higher in properties closed between 500 and 750. And days on market is up 200%, which is usually saying that if a property is sold in this marketplace and it was 120 days on market and it was the only one, well, then it would be 100 days, So in other words, you'd be 100%, excuse me. So you would be seeing the differences from those numbers that way, much like you would here. They average 94 days on market. That market segment is down 53.85%. That's kind of how you can look at this from both a realtor and a consumer perspective. This is active inventory up here. So how many properties are currently active right now of those 571? These are the numbers. These are the averaging days on market right now. So you can see each of these things. Looking at the spreadsheet where everybody gets to be the expert. And why? Well, because we have week over week analysis, month over month analysis, and then year over year analysis all on one sheet for you. So new listings taken this past week were 49 additional listings. 33 properties were listed the week before. We have 571 properties currently on the marketplace. Of those 571 properties, 4 in the coming soon category, 49 condo townhouse, 2 factory built, 124 manufactured homes, 3 modular park, 14 park RV, 1 plex, 6 ranch and farms, 0 reservation only, 372 site built. That was quite a jump. 44 new construction properties. So the 569 properties plus 2 that are REO totals a total of 571. So right now there's approximately 0.4% of the entire MLS inventory has the box checked that identifies it's either REO or HUD home. Take a look at pending. So the new listings, as we spoke about, talk about the how excited potentially or willingness to put their property on the market sellers are. When we start to see inventory increase, that means more people are getting excited about where they can go, about maybe walking away from that 2.5%, 3% mortgage on their home because they're excited about some other property that came available. But buyers fall in the pending category because this is the meeting of the minds between the sellers and the buyers. Pending is really an escrow, right? So we're going through at some point the inspection period. Some may fall out due to that. And then we have others that will make it through all the way to close of escrow. So we look at pending as a random sample of the number of buyers that are in the marketplace at any one time. There obviously are more, but they're not engaging at today's price. They're not engaging because of the snow. They're not engaging because of whatever. They're not engaging. So they're not really buyers. Buyers are people who are ready, willing, and able, to engage and write an offer. So when we see 28, it's up 26. That's not a big increase, but again, we continue to monitor these, and sometimes these numbers are better looked at on a month-over-month perspective because it just identifies more actual what took place. So we look at close, we're at 8 again, just as it's only the 8th of the 10th of the month, but it's really like the 8th or 9th of from a recording perspective at the city. So again, this is, way too early to speculate over these numbers. But if we look way over here to the right, when you're looking at January's numbers, which we already went over last week in the month end report, but this shows you how the stability of the numbers really can paint a much more clear picture, and that gives you even a clearer picture year over year. How's the market going? Are we starting off more brisk than last year? Where are we in that perspective? And then again, we get to look and see basically just month over month, because you've got December, then January. You can see how that market, what the trend might be. You can identify. Excuse me. So right now, of course, the month supply, because it's so early in the month, is skewed. You really have to have 14 days worth of data to really, come out. A lot of times I take longer to do the month end stats. And so as a result, you don't get those numbers until, usually the 15th of the month. But I was way ahead of things this week. So again, we look at the median sale price, 393, 500, 430 last week. It doesn't really change median that much, but it changes based on what's sold and what's added to inventory. That will change a little bit when you have fewer numbers, like if you're dealing with numbers in the valley and you've got 22,000 properties, then a couple of hundred properties come on or off. The market is so much more lethargic. But when you're in a smaller market, you get 571 homes, you add 50 to it, that's 10%. That jumps. So again, this is the reason why the numbers are capricious. But again, we take a look back, we see we finished last month at 350, 391 the year before. So we're 50,000 less, 40,000 less, in median. So this year than last year, just based on January's activity. So we'll see where that goes throughout the year. But this is how we build this to be able to report for you. But looking at the days on market for sold was at 34. That's a little higher than 27, which is a good sign, because about 60 to 90 is a sweet spot. And that's really where, if you take a look at the historic pattern of, the White Mountain surrounding areas, 60 days, 75 days, that's kind of the sweet spot, for a property. Come on the market, be the right property, be ready, be in the right location, be the seller having prepared the property for sale, and boom, boom, the properties go pretty quick, which augments some of that. But when you get a lot of properties on the market, and you don't have as many buyers in the marketplace, well, then the opposite occurs, of course. Probably one of the more important numbers that we report to you on a weekly basis is the list price to sell price retention. And really what this isn't the original list price to sell price. This is just the list price to sell price. And so the original list price would be, well, what was it when you took the listing or when they first listed their home? List price to sale price is at the time that they accepted an offer, what was the difference between the list price and the contract price? And so it's a little more detailed. When a property is listed too high in the beginning, then of course we all understand, sure, there could be a little, let me check the market out. But the reality is that doesn't do anybody any good. Everybody needs to appropriately price their homes based on what's going on. Now, if we are in an increasing market price-wise, well, then you are always ahead of the market pricing. If we are in a decreasing market, then like we had been over the last year, then we have a tendency to go the other way. And we, sometimes, are higher in the very beginning than at the final day of having accepted a contract. So again, but that's what this is. So 95.83 is reporting today is basically saying that sellers this past week were discounting their homes approximately 4.2%. So you look at 100 being list price, and then what's the difference between list price at 100% and 95.83? Basically 4.2%, 4.17. And so it would be reasonable to imagine that whatever these properties were that sold this past week, there was approximately, on average, a 4.2% negotiation. And that doesn't take anything into consideration when you're dealing with concessions. Concessions are totally different. So, sometimes sellers need more buyers need more concessions, and they're willing to pay a little more to get those concessions so that the seller's net is a reasonable net. And again, that's something that we take into consideration. But historically, on average, for the White Mountains over the last 13 years, because again, remember, I went all the way back over the last couple of months now, 97.52%. is where for over a decade, the White Mountains has been averaging a seller negotiating approximately 2.5% off of list price. So again, taking that into consideration, that's statistical. We've got the numbers to back it up. But so when we're at 95, what am I saying? I'm saying we're below we're lower than what a seller would normally give away. Normally the seller would retain more. Last week, the week before, last week, it was 96.25. Well, last month, look at that. We had an incredible January, well, pretty good January, but we were at 93.7. We sold more houses in January by 1 unit than we did the following year, but sellers had to give the house away a little bit more. But wait a minute, look over here. 92.1 is what the sellers averaged in January of last year. So in essence, you'd look at these two numbers, not this current number right here, which is dealing with just what's closed over the last week. You look back at these numbers right over here and you say, oh my gosh, the seller actually retained 4.4, a half a percent more this year than last. It doesn't sound like it's a lot of money, but when you're dealing with 93, that's 6.5% off of list price. So take that into consideration, and know your market. That's what these numbers do for us. They help us know our market. Thanks, everybody. That's the numbers for this week. Be happy to get the next numbers out. Next week is, no, it's not next week. Yes, it is. Next week, I believe, is President's Day weekend. Is that right? 17/4. Yeah, something like that. No, next weekend is Valentine's Day and President's Weekend. Yeah, don't forget Friday, Valentine's Day, the 14th. So it is President's Day weekend, so there'll be no webinar at the corporate office, and also there'll be no statistics back to you that week. The following week, the weekend of the 26th, the 22nd, there will be data back to you. So thank you. Look forward to seeing you guys. Have a great day. If you have any reason, give me a call. Happy to help you.